Hello, and welcome to another edition of South Bridge Street Live. It is my absolute pleasure to announce my two guests, Kathleen Carey and Mary Ann Davis, and we are here at the Nave Museum for a very special exhibit, Stitched from the Soul. And we were talking earlier that this is the first time that the Nave Museum has put together a needlepoint exhibit, especially of this magnitude. It's been amazing.
Yes.
So now you two are the curators.
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
We are.
We are.
Yes.
There's probably over 200 pieces in here to look at.
Absolutely amazing. And when did the exhibit start? And when will the exhibit go through?
It started June 29th and will run through August 12th.
Well, very cool. Now, I know that you own a business here in Victoria. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about your business.
The needlepoint shop is Pastimes Needlepoint on 105 West Santa Rosa. And I've sold a lot of the canvases that you see here, the threads that people then have taken and made their own and put together into all these wonderful pieces.
And Kathleen, how long have you been a needlepoint artist?
I wouldn't call myself an artist necessarily, but I started when I was probably in college because my mother stitched all the time. And so she taught me, and I've just been doing it ever since.
Mm-hmm. And what about for you? What is your history with needlepoint?
My parents didn't do crafts, didn't have a lot of hobbies, and so for me it was self-taught. Mm-hmm. I got interested in crafting probably about third or fourth grade, so I'm self-taught.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
Tell me about the therapy of needlepoint.
I would say that the basic stitching is very rhythmic, especially before you get to the beading and the sequins and fancy stitches. But the basic stitch is a very rhythmic, relaxing thing that draws a lot of people to needlepoint.
Well, and I have so many questions. So I'm just going to kind of rapid fire. What do you feel like is a good point of interest for someone who comes here and sees this magnificent exhibit and suddenly says, you know what, I really want to do needlepoint? What's the first step?
You would come to my shop.
Yes.
Perfect. Fair enough.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What I usually always try to do is start somebody small, like ornament size, and teach them the basic stitch. That way they can see the end. Mm-hmm. You can see that I'll get this finished, get closure, and then slowly move on to fancy stitches and embellishments.
She also has some very wonderful children's kits, and that's a good way to get started because the holes are bigger if you have a hard time seeing them in the beginning. I mean, once you get going with it, then it's not a problem, but the bigger holes in the children's little kits, to me, are a good way to start because, again, they're small and you see the end result. My granddaughter, she likes to needlepoint, and she did one in one afternoon because she's got it.
Right.
But for someone who doesn't, it's just, I think, a good way to get started, too.
It's not hard.
No.
It's not hard.
So one of the terms that you have used, that you used earlier with me, which I thought was really interesting and something that I wanted to express about this exhibit, was that you said it's not your grandmother's needlepoint. And so you do have some absolutely incredible traditional needlepoint from so many families that even I recognize.
Well, Ingra, for instance, if you look at my mother's in the back, hers are all done in wool.
Right.
With no glitter, because there was nothing then.
Right, there wasn't glitter.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things that I think has come so long is that now we have such a choice of threads. They're so beautiful. Yeah,
huge. Technology has taken threads to glitter to fuzzy to metallic. Everything is just I have a thread that looks like pantyhose and thread that you brush it up and it makes people go, well, how did that get so hairy? Yeah, it's just really a lot of fun.
Right.
It makes it way more interesting, and so I think then a lot more people who are younger are more interested because of the
the different threads.
And I have
technology.
heard that too. I have heard that there is this kind of unique shift, especially because of the textile and because of the fabric and the thread, that it is becoming sort of a new generation of needle pointers, or is that the correct? Yeah, needle pointers that are coming in. And what's really neat about this exhibit, and I want to kind of talk to you guys about how you decided, how you chose the work, is that you do see some traditional, but then you see some really avant-garde things, like just some things that I didn't even realize existed in needlepoint.
I would say that the only prerequisite I had for the people that Kathleen and I put together was that they stitched the whole thing. Because sometimes people get by themselves. That some people get busy or get started and decide they don't like it and say, "Well, will you finish this for me, or do you know somebody who will finish it?" But that was the only prerequisite. A lot of the canvases you see, like I said, I've sold, so I knew what they were gonna show. I knew what was coming, so that was helpful.
How many families would you say are represented here in this exhibit?
We have 26.
Okay.
26 different ladies here. Some are no longer with us from from 97 is the oldest lady.
Yes.
And I believe the youngest is like
probably your daughter, don't you think?
so that's probably late 20s.
Really?
So yeah, that's so you get a little bit of everything, a little bit of everybody, and I sell the canvases and the thread. All these canvases are hand painted by people all over the country. I mean, from California to Connecticut.
Wow.
And they paint it, then they come in, we decide stitches, they make it their own, and then I send it to various, depending on what it is, I have a handful of finishers who put it into whatever they're, whether it's the ornament or the stocking.
Right.
I think one of the things that you don't get to see in the stockings in particular is the lining that they have used, because usually they are so beautiful how they've selected them to go with what's on the front of the stocking.
Right.
So it's it makes for a masterpiece, and that was a big motivation. How this all came about was there was an amazing needlepoint show in Fort Worth.
Okay.
And put on by these ladies who had a needlepoint shop in a mansion in downtown Fort Worth, and it's an amazing show. But I knew when I went and saw it that I had people that could do better than that. So I just tried to get, for a year and a half, tried to get a hold of them, tried to get them to answer emails, return phone calls. And then I just really got mad, and when crazy takes the wheel, I call her. I call Kathleen.
When crazy takes the wheel, our shows happen.
Yes. I called Kathleen and I said, "Okay, this is what I think we need to do.
Let's get this going."
And she says, "Okay, let me make some phone calls." And here we are. So I just really felt that these women don't wake up in the morning and go, "I'm going to create a masterpiece today." But they do. They really and truly do, and it needed to be. Because I am very strongly feel that the work they do is, even the simplest, some of these simple pieces are, when you think about every hole is filled.
Right.
Every hole.
And then the process that you were explaining, that the work is painted, so that there's this whole other element, I think, in craft probably, that goes into it when it's even before it's even getting to you as the person that's going to needlepoint, which I just thought was such an interesting. I hadn't considered that element or that step in the process before.
Oh, sure, it is definitely. And then these gals make it their own. Make it what their vision,
right?
And then we try to take it to somebody who will complete that
Right.
full circle.
Now,
So.
Kathleen, what does it mean to you to have this, this legacy of work that was passed on, the knowledge from your family? Are you moving that on to
it's wonderful. Like I said, my mother has pieces in the back that my daughter Kathleen has in her home, and I have some chairs. And in my group of stockings, not these here, but mine at home, were done by my mother and my sister. I have only one or two of the 15 that I have that I've actually done. That's why I borrowed.
So you were saying that even shoes, there's clothing that can be...
Slippers, yes, clothing. There's a vest back there. And
there's a belt.
Belt.
I
saw the belt was phenomenal too.
That was made,
Yes.
well, and I have to give credit here. That belt was made by my admin who worked for me for 4 years before she came in and said, "Okay, I'm ready to try this needlepoint thing you're doing." And she finished that belt, and I can honestly say, and I think you can, that if it wasn't for her, most of this would not have happened.
No, she's amazing.
She's besides,
Wonderful.
she helped put together the program and the names and her.
Were you
everything.
surprised by the amount of visitors? And I mean, because you were saying this was a very big show.
I think we were slayed.
Yeah,
I think we've been
and the
decked.
opening was amazing, and and there, every time I stop by here for whatever, there are always people here. It's really been wonderful.
We have been so thankful and so glad. The museum has said that the donations are up, and
that's wonderful.
The visitation has been huge, and we are so honored.
We've also had people, since the exhibit has been up, calling saying, "I have my great aunt's chair," or "my great aunt's this or that. Can we put it in the show?" And of course, it's too late now, but maybe if we do it in another
For something in the future.
4 or 5 years, then maybe we can grab those
I think
too.
That would be wonderful.
Sure.
Absolutely wonderful.
You think we can recover in 4 or 5 years?
No, it took us 2 years to do this, but at least we know how to do it now.
Now we're
There you
good.
go.
Yeah.
Well, what would you like Victorians to know about this exhibit?
You go
Well, they just need to come to see the beauty of it. I mean, it really is breathtaking when you get in here and you start looking at each one and actually looking at the person's name on the wall and figuring out whose stocking is that underneath there. Is it the daughter, the granddaughter, the son, the grandson? Yeah, it's really...
My youngest daughter calls them bits of mom.
Oh, that's
And so
nice.
I think that letting people see just how beautiful these are and how they go down in generation. You'll see how some have a name on them, but they'll also have a tag.
Right.
They get passed down from generation, and you can just add tags and add more names to them. So it's
And you have here over 200. Is that
Over
understood?
200
Over
pieces.
200 pieces.
Yeah.
Not just stockings.
Oh no! The front half is Christmas, but the back half is where you find the clothes and.
And I will say this too, if you come to visit the Nave to see this exhibit, I mean, you really could just spend hours and hours here looking at all the magnificent detail. Such a great, way to spend a hot summer
absolutely.
afternoon.
Yes.
Come in here to this beautiful museum and see this fantastic exhibit.
Oh, thank you.
Now, for one more time, for those of us who are interested in needlepoint, the best beginning would really just to be honestly to come and see you at the shop. As
That's
I said,
absolutely.
I see what probably all of these families in some capacities have.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, that would be the best. Come, and if you just give us a call, I'm usually there all day. The shop is open from 2 to 5, but I'm there all day. Just knock.
All right, so
Walk
here's
in.
the zany question that I almost always ask that can be difficult, but I want you to remember where I start with this is feet to the fire. All right? Feet to the fire. Your most favorite needlepoint of your entire life.
I know mine.
I don't know. I have to think about that one. Go ahead, Marianne.
It's this stocking right there.
This one here
Yes.
with
So
Santa Claus
magnificent.
and
And the lion.
lion and the lamb.
Mhm.
Yes.
That is, well, that's not a lamb, actually. That's a baby Brahmin calf.
Oh, it is. I see that now. Oh my goodness.
That is,
I thought you would have picked that
that's mine, but this is my grandson, Davis. He's my oldest daughter's oldest child, and he's a Leo. And in my opinion, that's the best stocking I've ever done.
Really, that's
People-
incredible.
People will debate that with me, but he's that's the one I feel. Okay, that gave you time to think. You ready?
one. I just can't, because I mean, I love all of those up there. I just can't go there. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no.
You just
Yeah.
don't know.
It's always the next one, really. Isn't that true?
Well, it is, yeah, because you just
see-
add a little bit more to it.
What
Yeah.
about historically for you? Is there one needlepoint that you treasure most because of its heritage or what it means to you on a...
Well, of course, not that I did it, but what I really treasure, my mother's are the director's chairs that are in the back there.
Oh.
Because they've been used and used and used, and they still look like
Look
they're
beautiful.
new. Yeah, I mean,
Wonderful.
we've
She
had all
has-
kind of people sit in them, and they've held up.
She has two rugs that her mother did, and one got damaged when I lost the building in the hurricane, and it's being repaired. But to just think how it is to needlepoint a whole
A
rug.
huge rug, yeah.
Yeah. So
That is incredible.
yeah. I mean, so we're putting that back together. So I found some people that were historically able to save a lot.
To do that.
Yeah.
Good.
That saved
I'm so
a lot.
glad to hear that. I'm
Yeah.
sure that was absolutely horrific
And
to,
it's not fun, but
to lose your
Yeah,
shoulder.
it was pretty awful.
God has a way. So
Absolutely.
we don't always understand it, but we could try to follow
Well,
it.
ladies, is there anything that you would like to add?
I don't think so. We just want people to come and see it before it leaves.
Spend an
Yeah.
afternoon here at the Nave. Stitch from the Soul here at the Nave. Mary Ann Davis and Kathleen Carey, thank you so much for your
Welcome.
time and, of course, for this incredible, truly unique, art exhibit.
You're
Well,
welcome.
not only just to see the show, but to support this museum.
Yes.
It needs it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Come and support the Nave. Thank you, ladies, so much for your time.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.